pure economic gravity. This whole entire thing reminds me of a quote from Saifedean Ammous, the author of the Bitcoin Standard, when he said that Bitcoin is financial gunpowder.
When I talk about Bitcoin adoption, people think of it as being like, say, Apple iPhone adoption. It's very nice and very cute, and then people will buy it. But I think that's not the model for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is more like gunpowder adoption. Did the French army have a choice whether they should adopt gunpowder or not? Did they decide, no, you know what, we like to keep it real with sticks and stones and swords, and we're not going to use gunpowder? If any army that decided to do this, it didn't matter, because then another army with gunpowder would come and take over France. So eventually everywhere in the world ended up with gunpowder, either because people adopted it or because it was used against them. And I think Bitcoin is like that. Bitcoin is like financial gunpowder. It's the safest way of sending money halfway around the world, the most secure way, and it's the hardest money that we've ever invented. At the end of the day, this is economic reality. It's not optional. You will either move there, or you will watch your wealth lose its value as the people who put their money there appreciate. The harder money will win. Gold beats silver, not because there was better marketing for gold or there was better propaganda for gold. It beats silver because of economic reality. Gold grew at a much slower rate than silver. The value of silver declined. This is really the case with Bitcoin, I think, in the long run.
The invention of gunpowder was a superior technology in warfare. So you could try to ignore gunpowder, but you couldn't ignore the consequences of ignoring it. Money works in the same way. Money is a technology, and history shows us that there is such thing as superior monetary technology. Namely, that comes in the form of harder money. If one group of people or society stores their value in a harder money, and another group stores their value in a weaker money, the outcome is inevitable. The harder money outcompetes and eventually demonetizes the weaker money. Over time, the purchasing power of the weaker money erodes towards zero as the harder money absorbs its value. In simple terms, hard money sucks the value out of the weaker money over time. Look up the history of Native American wampum or the rhinestones on Yap Island, or even China and India remaining on the silver standard while the West adopted the gold standard in the late 1800s or early 1900s. The key to remember in all these situations is that holding the weaker money is actually economically devastating. Every time this happens in history, the story is the same. Those holding the weaker money see their purchasing power vanish, while those who adopt the harder money see their relative wealth explode. By the way, quick tangent, this actually is what I believe people who call Bitcoin a Ponzi scheme fundamentally misunderstand. They think it's some scheme where early adopters only profit by recruiting and dumping on new entrants. But that's not what's happening. The purchasing power gains of a harder money come from weaker monies losing their purchasing power and the value migrating from one to the other. It's the same thing as gold and foreign currencies demonetizing the German mark during hyperinflation in Weimar Germany in the 1920s. But of course, nobody said gold is a Ponzi scheme because the mark is hyperinflating. That would make no sense. It's not a Ponzi or a pyramid scheme, it's a monetary transition. And the next evolution in the technology of money is Bitcoin. Again, hard for people to see because we haven't had a real innovation in the technology of money in most of our lifetimes. But Bitcoin is a superior monetary technology. It's monetary gunpowder. So if you're holding a weaker money or a weaker store of value, like dollars or bonds or even real estate, which is all inflated by fiat and debt, over time, the value, and more specifically, the monetary premium of those monies or those assets leaks out and gets absorbed into Bitcoin. And I'd argue this analogy extends to anyone else who attempts to ignore Bitcoin. If you're a financial firm that refuses to offer Bitcoin products, your competitors who do will eat your lunch. If you're a financial advisor who won't talk about Bitcoin to your clients, well, your clients will ultimately leave you for an advisor who will because they're outperforming you. And eventually, if you're a corporation without Bitcoin on your balance sheet, or you're a merchant who doesn't accept Bitcoin payments, or a government without Bitcoin as part of your reserves, or even worse, a country that tries to ban Bitcoin, ignoring Bitcoin can't protect you. It just guarantees you get left behind. Call it monetary Darwinism. Every system or institution that tries to ignore Bitcoin ends up bending the knee, or they will choose catastrophic failure instead. And Vanguard is just the latest example. BlackRock didn't embrace Bitcoin because they love Austrian economics. They did it because of incentives and profit motives. They did it to make money. Vanguard didn't reverse course because they suddenly believe in the principles of sound money. They did it because not offering Bitcoin was costing them money. That's how Bitcoin wins, one capitulation at a time. You can try to ignore Bitcoin, but you can't ignore what happens to you when everyone else doesn't. So don't be surprised when you see the next institution or country bend the knee to Bitcoin. Those who are paying attention know that the opportunity cost of ignoring Bitcoin is paid in purchasing power.